Victory of the year on the line. Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, ends up.
Yes!
Caught! Touchdown, Detroit!
What's going on, everybody? It's another episode of Dinner and D-Mail. Thank y'all for tuning in. So today episode, we're going to make it not as long as my other ones, but I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. It's really about, Detroit Lions losing to San Francisco 49ers, up 17 points. Losing by 3, it still hurts, but I'm going to get over it. They say it was the most watched Super Bowl, but pretty much I kind of cut it off after a while. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's probably only reason why it was most viewed is because everybody keep talking about Taylor Swift, but that's all I can do. Ain't nothing to say other than just whatever. But now that the Lions got so close and got a taste of high fields and got that playoff win and doing all this stuff, now it's more, what happens next? Like, what happens with, getting so close and not making it? So would you end up being that person? I don't even know why people are saying it. Fire Dan Campbell because he's too much of a risk taker, and bringing in somebody else. But me, essentially, that's kind of like blowing up the team. So I really don't think that's a good idea. But what I do think is a good idea is for people to understand that, Dan Campbell and his aggressiveness helped get you there. Dan Campbell and his aggressiveness shows you that, the Lions are willing to take risks. Dan Campbell, before we got fucking played, pardon me for cussing, but Dan Campbell, before we got played, we should have won that Dallas game. I'm gonna leave it alone at a later date, maybe next year when we beat them. But right now, I'm still salty about it because we should have won that game by 1 instead we lose by 1. So it's kind of rubbing me the wrong way. But his aggressiveness helped you win that game before we got cheated. But we're not going to talk about that because I'm not going to talk about the cheating part. But we also know it got cheated, so it is what it is. But, I've seen a lot of people, because Dan Campbell didn't, take field goals when he should have and did all that stuff. People are just like, you should fire him and get somebody else. But why? Like, that's what I understand. Like, so you get this close, you get this far, keep the same roster, keep Brad Holmes, but then fire Dan Campbell? It makes no sense. Like, any real Lions fan, especially the people I was around, was like, that's stupid for you to do. That's even stupid to even talk about. But, that's what a lot of people said. The one thing that I would address as, a Lions fan, just seeing what needs to be done would be to go for defense. The offense doesn't need anything else. The offense is fine. I'm still a little salty about you letting Tracy Walker go, but I'm going to let that go. Letting Jerry Jacobs go, I can understand that because he didn't have a significant role and his role started to slowly get reduced, especially in the playoffs. So I understand that. Letting Chase Lucas go, still kind of confused me, but as I say all the time, I'm trusting Brad Holmes because he knows more than I do when it comes to that. So we're going to see what happens with that. But one thing that's what I was saying, like, is it time to take a big risk? I say yes, but when they say big risk, what type of big risk are you talking about here? I previously dropped a video about, Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack. One thing I say, it'll probably never happen because the Browns would probably not do it unless you came at them with so much. But one thing that I would probably say is, and me and my dog Biz talked about it, Myles Garrett. What would you give up for Myles Garrett? Get a constant guy that's been Defensive Player of the Year a few times, get Myles Garrett with that defense. What would you be willing to give up for that? Me personally, I would give up a lot. But that's a high risk. That's not even high risk. That's a risk. No, it is a risk because you would have to give up so much to get him. So would that be somebody that you end up going to chase after? Because Myles Garrett could change the face of the defense. He could definitely be that person to come in and immediately just set it apart. We can show you that he's a capable player, capable of doing so much. So would you give up a lot for him? I would, but Cleveland, it makes no sense for Cleveland because Cleveland just traded for Jerry Judy. So it seems like Cleveland is trying to continue to move forward, not just go backwards. Now, if you blew the team up on some, forget it. We're not making it. We got close, but we feel as though we should just rebuild the team and things like that. So we're going to start giving away key pieces and see what we could get. Then I can understand doing that. But for a team that's already, made to the playoff with Joe Flacco, it makes no sense for them because Deshaun Watson is going to come back, trading for Jerry Judy. That team should get better, but we'll see what happens. But another thing everybody keeps talking about, I keep seeing a lot of rumors about Stephon Gilmore. Him being of that age, coming from Dallas. Because somebody still see him, coming to this team and contributing immediately because he'll probably be a step over, Cameron Sutton. And watching him play, I didn't really watch Dallas, especially after that time. But Stephon Gilmore still has that it factor that definitely can complement a team. He can definitely still bring in, contribute something. When you have a player that's, they won't, continue to get better and better and better every time. That's more like rookie sophomores. But a player that's already established, like, here, this is me. This is what I'm capable of. You're either going to use me for what I'm good at, or if you're not, this is what it is. The same way Patrick Peterson was circling around teams at one point in time, but Patrick Peterson didn't necessarily regress. He just showed you who he was. So he's like, this is me. This is what I'm capable of. This is what I can do. So it's either you're going to accept it or you're not. So a lot of organizations say not, but I can understand why some teams were like, we get it. We're going to take that chance with you. But, would that even be something? Hell, even Patrick Peterson, him, he's not with Pittsburgh anymore, and he didn't seem like he retired or they're going to retire yet. So what are you going to do with that? My only thing is, a lot of people keep talking about, Brad Holmes being a guru of the NFL draft and things like that. So it really doesn't make any sense for him to go after a veteran player when you can draft somebody and put him in as a starting cornerback. One problem that I have with that, yes, Brian Branch came in and did his thing, but Brian Branch had a lot of rookie mistakes. So are you willing to revisit that again with another rookie and have him make rookie mistakes and then just address it? Or, granted, it wasn't with this regime, or I still have his jersey, Jeff Okudah. Jeff Okudah was supposed to came in, supposed to make an immediate impact, supposed to be the number one cornerback for years on up, and got injured and kept getting injured. Went to Atlanta and was injured there. So what could necessarily happen to help this team improve when it comes to that? Because the matter of fact is that the Lions have to improve on defense. Like, we have offense. There's nothing else to address on offense other than offensive line, unless you don't want to resign some people. But as far as the team as a whole, all you got to address is defense. So you got to just go out, whether it be free agency in the draft, and dress solely defense, because the offense has shown you with Jared Goff leading the way that they can get you there. So you have to be willing to either take the risk and go get a vet and, make the team into a better chase the Super Bowl, or try to get a young player that can come in and contribute immediately, but you just know he's going to have those rookies mistakes that's going to, like, kind of impede his growth from time to time. But I'm more of a go get a vet and get a rookie and put him aside so you can learn from the vets. That way, when it's his time to come up, he'll be fine, versus getting a rookie and then making it to the playoffs and then him making a rookie mistake at the ass end of a game and losing because of that mistake. A lot of people mentally, that'll mess you up. So is that something that you're willing to take? Is that a risk that you're willing to take? And that's the one thing that I say I really don't see it happening. But if it does happen, then it's like, well, it's a thing. But y'all can be like, cut him, he's a bum. But one thing that I can say is Cameron Sutton, he's going to be for the team. be with the team for a while, so you can't necessarily get rid of him. And you can't trade him because that's a lot of dead cap on your salary. So I wouldn't even entertain that thought process. But you could just have somebody that's going to come in and contribute immediately. And like I said, I think that's more of a vet than anything else. But like I said, you have to address the defense. And I say take that big risk, man, because all the players that I like, I know at one point in time people saying Aaron Donald, you gotta give up too much for Aaron Donald. So I'm not entertaining that idea. Miles Garrett, which I said before earlier, yes, you would have to give up a lot, but Miles Garrett would go crazy. Fred Warner, you had to donate half the organization to get him off of San Francisco. Like I said, the video about Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, those might be some names that you can entertain. Stephon Gilmore, just a few names that I can think of off the top of my head, that players that can come in, veteran players that can come in and contribute to a team off rip. And I think that that's something that the Lions should pursue. Like I said, don't give up their 29th pick. Get a player that can contribute, but also be willing to sit and learn the game more so you don't have those rookies' mistakes. But if you end up something happens to Emmanuel Mosley again, Cameron Sutton continues to get beat, or the veteran that you trade for or sign in the offseason, comes in and something happens to them, God forbid, you have somebody willing to step up and fill that role, fill that position. In the NFL, people always say it's always the next man up. So if you're willing to find somebody or can find somebody that can go ahead and do that, I say take it. But high risk, high reward. It's time. Something I ended up watching previously was they said, what would you be willing to give up for a Super Bowl? Would you be willing to give up draft picks for a Super Bowl? I would. Would you be willing enough to give up cap space to win a Super Bowl? I would. Would you be willing to give up, let's say, a certain player on the Lions to win a Super Bowl? I would, because the Super Bowl isn't about one player, it's about the team as a whole. So if I had to lose that one player to win a Super Bowl, I'm taking that risk. I'm sorry. Granted, like I said, I'm on the commentator. I'm not that person on the inside that knows, how everything is going to work like that. But at the same time, I'd be willing to give up draft picks for this year, next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, if the Lions won a Super Bowl. Now think about this for a second. The Detroit Pistons ain't won anything since 2004. Detroit Lions never won anything. The Red Wings ain't won anything in years, and the Detroit Tigers haven't won anything in years. The Detroit Lions finally win, not make it to the Super Bowl, but actually win the Super Bowl. Come on now. I'll be willing to give up. I'll give up a lot to take that risk and have them actually win that. But what do y'all think, man? Like I say, like I say all the time, I have a comment section for a reason, man. Comment what you'd be willing to trade for in order to win the Super Bowl. What person that you think, vet-wise and draft-wise, that the Lions should end up pursuing. And, let's just get ready for the draft, man. It's going to be downtown Detroit, man. I can't wait, man. But what y'all think? Thank y'all for tuning in, man. It's another episode of D&D, man. Like and subscribe. Thank God Almighty, like, subscribe. Peace, y'all.